What's up, YouTube? It's your boy JP's on the keys, and there's two easy other videos today. Due to very popular demand, First Crusade, Epic History. Again, shout out Epic History for the amazing content. You know what I mean? I can't like not do these videos and not give the credit to the person who's putting in all the work behind the scenes. Shout out to Epic History. You know what I'm saying? Gotta give people their credit. You know what I'm saying? Just know I'm probably gonna record an episode of It Crowd after that, and then put that on Daily Motion because I seen that gets blocked on YouTube. Even though, for some reason, the full video is on there. There's episodes that are on YouTube, but you can't post a reaction to it on YouTube. That I don't understand. But anyway, let's watch First Crusade. Part 1, probably drop part 2 tomorrow, just letting you know.
In the Middle Ages, Europe and the Middle East were divided between Christian states, or Christendom, and Muslim states. They were uneasy neighbors and frequently at war. On the front line, the Eastern Roman or Byzantine Empire, the major Christian power in the Eastern Mediterranean. But in the 11th century, a powerful new force emerged that threatened its very survival. The Seljuk Turks, originally from Central Asia, migrated south, converted to Sunni Islam, and carved out a great empire for themselves.
I would definitely have to look that up. I'm about to look that up. I'm about to look it up because I'm trying to think were they religious before? Were the Turks? Did they have a religion before? Were they atheists? I mean, they say they came from somewhere in Asia. So, to be honest, because I know in that area, in the Asian area, as a lot of people still practice Islam. There are a lot of people that also practice like Hindu, and some people even doesn't Confucius have his own like philosophy? Confucius, or a lot of people are atheists down there. So you know what I'm saying? It's always cool because regardless of how you feel about religion has always been a part of history. Like you can't escape it. Religion is fake. Religion is fake. Well, you might think so, but it's a part of the history of a lot of countries, you know. A lot of people have died for it. A lot of rules have been changed. People have died for religion. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things have been done in the name of religion. So you can't discount religion as far as its historical impact, whether it be negative or positive. You still have to just recognize that it's there. You know, that's the main point of it, for real.
In 1071, at the Battle of Manzikert, the Seljuk Turks inflicted a crushing defeat on the Byzantine Empire. They went on to conquer most of Anatolia. Cities such as Nicaea and Antioch, rich in Christian history, fell to the Seljuk Turks.
So these are like the Cossacks, like when Napoleon had the Cossacks, like the men on the horses that were riding around with the swords. That were ridiculous. Like, just imagine, like I said, imagine back in that time in 1071. Like, your best weapon is a sword, some swords. You might have some archers, maybe, but you got a dude on a horse with a sword running at you full speed, coming, slicing and dicing. Like, just imagine that scene. That's crazy.
In 1092, the great Seljuk Sultan Malik Shah died, and his empire began to fragment. The Byzantine Empire came under renewed attack as local warlords sought territory and plunder. In 1095, Byzantine Emperor Alexius I Comnenus wrote to Pope Urban II, making a desperate appeal for military aid from his fellow Christians in the West. It wasn't the first such appeal by the emperor, but this time the results would be unlike anything ever seen before. Pope Urban saw the emperor's appeal as a golden opportunity, a chance to heal the rift that had emerged between Western and Eastern churches in the Great Schism, to assert his own papal authority over the unruly barons and bishops of Western Christendom, and to drive back the infidel and reclaim Christianity's most holy sites. Most of all, Jerusalem.
Facts. That's like Jerusalem is the Holy Land. Obviously, that's the number one thing you got to claim, but you got to think about it. In the Byzantine Empire. You got factions within Christianity fighting, bickering with each other while you're already at war with another religion. Like I said, religion plays such a big part in history that you can't even like discount it. Like I said, I'm not the most well versed on my like current events, but I know Trump did something with Jerusalem. He did something with Jerusalem, like he declared Jerusalem, like I forgot what it was. It was something about Jerusalem, and he made a lot of people mad. I remember that. I remember he did that, and it made a lot of people mad. But he did a peace deal with. It was between Syria. It was either Syria or the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. So, because that's the where all the Palestinians are being tortured by Iranians. Yeah, Iranians. Mm-hmm. So, I know he did something with Jerusalem. I'm trying to somebody please fill me in because I remember the headline when it happened. I just don't remember the exact scenario that was around that.
Lost to Muslim rule 400 years before. At Clermont in France, Pope Urban preached a sermon to a gathering of clergy and nobles. He called on Christian knights and foot soldiers to go east, to aid their brother Christians and free Jerusalem from Muslim rule. And he offered a unique spiritual incentive. Whoever, for devotion alone, not to gain honor or money, goes to Jerusalem to liberate the Church of God, can substitute this journey for all penance. He was offering Europe's knights, who lived in fear of damnation because of the violent lives they led, the chance to atone for their sins through holy war.
See, that's how you spark up a fight. You give people the motivation. Hey, if I go ahead and liberate my holy land, I have all my sins forgiven. See, that's a smart tactic.
What's more, their objective, Jerusalem, was a city that captivated the medieval imagination like no other. The most holy place on earth. The Pope's offer exhilarated his audience. His words were met with cries of Deus vult, Deus vult. God wills it. God wills it. The Pope's appeal was preached across Europe, sparking a wave of religious fervor. Thousands of lords, knights, and ordinary people vowed to travel to the Holy Land and fight for Christ. They identified themselves by wearing a cross, later becoming known as Cruce Signatus, Crusaders. A few of these men saw opportunity in the East for fame and fortune, but overwhelmingly they went in search of spiritual salvation, willing to undertake a long, expensive and perilous journey to save their souls from the fires of hell. Pope Urban had intended the crusade to be led by nobles, and made up of knights and experienced soldiers. But the viral success of his appeal led thousands of ordinary townsfolk and peasants to take the cross, many inspired by a French priest known as Peter the Hermit, who became leader of this so-called People's Crusade. In the Rhineland, some of these crusaders, fired up by old prejudices and talk of holy war, attacked local Jewish communities, slaughtering around 5,000 men, women and children.
Dang, bro, the Jews been under persecution back in this time. Wow, but I've also noticed that during these early times, like, the citizens were not afraid to just run up in the government building and just, you know what I'm saying, get what they wanted, you know what I'm saying? Like, people had a purpose behind what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like, people, like, not, people just ran, people really had, they ran up in there. You know what? We don't like what you're doing. We're going to gather everybody. The purpose. I'm like, bro, yeah. I'm not going to talk about what's happening today because it's not relevant to the video. But you know exactly what
Lorraine, Godfrey of Bouillon, with his brothers Eustace and Baldwin of Boulogne, Hugh of Vermandois, younger brother of the French king, Count Robert of Flanders, and Duke Robert of Normandy, son of William the Conqueror,
See, this is
the wealthy Stephen of Blois,
Look how organized this is.
from Provence, Count Raymond of Toulouse, accompanied by the Crusade's spiritual leader, papal legate Adhemar of Ripuy. And from southern Italy, Norman lords Bohemond of Taranto and his nephew Tancred. The various contingents converged for their agreed rendezvous at Constantinople.
See, look at this.
Together, they formed a huge army, perhaps 60,000 strong, probably the largest seen in Europe since the fall of the Western Roman Empire. The Byzantine Emperor Alexius had expected to welcome a small force of Western mercenaries who'd serve under Byzantine command.
Nope.
But the giant Crusader force that began arriving in December 1096 made him nervous and distrustful, particularly the presence of Bohemond of Taranto, who'd spent much of his life attacking the Byzantine Empire. Alexius gave the Crusaders money, supplies, and guides, but only after their leaders swore oaths of fealty and promised to return all Byzantine territory to the Emperor, not keep it for themselves.
I mean, I can understand that. I can understand, because if you got 60,000 military soldiers just randomly swooping into your city, especially when one of them has a history of attacking your city, I would approach it with a little trepidation as well. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be mad, but that's a good deal. You know what I'm saying? Make sure hey, you can do it. I'll supply you, but I need you to make sure you're not going to turn on me and try to kill all my people. I need you to make sure that if you take land, any land that belongs to me, can I please have it back? I'm not mad at that.
Only then were they ferried across the Bosphorus into Anatolia.
That was the only way to get there. You got a tactical advantage, because like that's the only way to get to Islam, to Muslim territory. You gotta cross the Bosphorus Strait. See?
The Crusaders were a mighty military force, particularly the armoured knights, who made up about a sixth of their strength. But they'd have to adapt rapidly to the heat, terrain, and hit-and-run tactics of their Turkish enemy. In their favour, the Islamic world and the great Seljuk Empire itself was badly divided. Its Turkish governors, or atabegs, were busy fighting each other, as well as the Shia Fatimids of Egypt. None of them was prepared for the First Crusade, or had any real understanding of its strength or aims.
Ready. They fight themselves. They're not even ready. You got 60,000 strong coming.
The Crusaders' first success came at Nicaea, which fell after a 6-week siege. But the city surrendered to the Byzantine forces, cheating the Crusaders, as they saw it, of their rightful plunder. It was a further strain on the delicate relations between Crusaders and Byzantines. They began marching inland through intense summer heat in 2 columns, a vanguard under Bohemond of Taranto and rear guard under Godfrey of Bouillon. Near Dorylaeum, Bohemond's vanguard was ambushed by the main Turkish army.
It wasn't ready.
Based on Crusader Chronicles.
Let's go. You know I like these. The animations. The animations, though.
This is our best understanding of how the confused fighting unfolded. Bohemond, seeing he was about to be attacked by a large force of enemy cavalry, sent an urgent message to the rearguard, asking for assistance.
Right. Y'all need help. We need
Then
help.
he formed up his knights and ordered his infantry into a defensive formation behind them, protecting the camp followers. The Crusaders came under attack from all sides, facing a hail of arrows from Turkish horse archers, as well as javelins and hit-and-run strikes from their faster light cavalry. The knights were driven back onto their own infantry. Over several hours, losses mounted, but the Crusader line held. Meanwhile, Godfrey was racing up with the rearguard to join the battle. Troops were fed into the fighting as soon as they arrived. On the Turks' left flank, the Crusader advance was hidden by the terrain, so that they appeared suddenly, threatening the Turks with encirclement.
My favorite word, encirclement. Yo, I got a whole bunch now because of this. Now because of these history actions, I got all these inside jokes now. But I just had a random thought, like, just think, how much skill do you need? Because I know they had dudes on horses. They had dudes on horses shooting arrows. Like, the amount of skill you need to shoot an arrow while you're on a horse. Because first of all, the horse is bouncing up and down. Like, I don't know if they had saddles back then. So the ride is still probably really bumpy, and you have to aim, you doing all this, and they still be on target. Like, that's crazy. Like, that's the amount of skill. And then same thing with throwing javelins. Like, you kind of gotta, especially if you're on a horse, you kind of have to throw it. You kind of have to throw it behind you, especially if you're trying to hit a moving target. You gotta like throw it in front of them so it will like meet. Just seeing that would be crazy. I just want to see that in action. Like that would be entertaining. Like, I mean, not seeing people like die, but like just the seeing all the war, just all the action, you know.
When the Christian knights all charged together, the Turks panicked, turned, and fled.
Hey, they just said we running up in there, bro. You said forget y'all, we running up in there.
It was a major victory for the Crusaders, and allowed them to continue their advance across Anatolia without serious opposition. At Heraclea, they defeated a small Turkish force, then split up. The main force struggled through the mountains of Cappadocia, losing many of their baggage animals and running dangerously low on supplies. Meanwhile, Baldwin of Boulogne and Tancred, probably out to seize land and plunder for themselves, travelled south into Cilicia, capturing the city of Tarsus and other settlements. Tancred later rejoined the main army. But Baldwin was invited by local Armenian Christians to travel to Edessa, where he was soon installed as Count Baldwin of Edessa, ruler of the First Crusader state. In October 1097, the rest of the Crusaders reached Antioch, the next stepping stone on the road to Jerusalem. But outside its walls, the First Crusade would come to the brink of disaster, decimated by disease and starvation, and encircled by their enemies. It would take a miracle to save them from annihilation.
All right, you know what I'm saying? That was part one. You know, I like learning about like just like random things, you know what I mean? Because it's always good to know the past and know how things in the past shaped what is now. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, like I know you've heard that phrase, those who don't learn the history are doomed to repeat it. Like there's like a lot of people who don't, like there's literally people in America who don't know when America got independence from Britain. They don't even know it. I'm like, how can you say you're like from a certain country and you don't know anything about your country? what? You know, I'm sure a lot of people who are from the UK know a lot of history about the UK, or people who are from, I don't know, Jamaica know a lot of history about Jamaica. Like, why would, I don't understand how you can live somewhere for so long and not know anything about it and not even bother to look into it. That's what is crazy. Like, people don't want to look, people don't want to learn, and people don't want to read and find out more information. That's the thing. I always want to learn something. I want to find out something new every day. Like, that makes me feel good when I find something new every day, or I learn something new every day. Like, that makes me learn like I'm really trying to contribute to my mind, you know, because your mental is the most important thing in your body, your mental. But anyway, thank you again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Go and subscribe to Epic History. I know, I think he's kind of close to 1 million. I don't know. I haven't checked the subscriber count. He's somewhere near that 1 million. So subscribe to him. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Turn on post notifications also if you haven't, because I do post a lot. Probably going to record It Crowd after this. But anyway, thank you again for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to share my video wherever you share videos at. Don't forget to share the video. Please be safe. Have a great day. Stay on the grind. I'm out. Peace.